5,000 acres down there. It may be in the evening, and he would have had the ute somewhere, his vehicle, he'd had his ute somewhere where it was in the open. He'd ride the mare out, take the saddle and bridle off the mare after watering her, giving her a good drink in the evening, and she'd be home at his front gate next morning. She would go home every time without fail.
How far was that?
30 miles. That was 30 miles. Now, they all, again, the good horses. Harold probably had the best horse. It was known throughout the district, a horse called Cactus, a big bay horse, good, really good stock horse, and tough. I can tell this story about myself, and this is truth. This halfway camping spot where you camped your cattle was known as the Blue Dam. It was out in the forest, and it had a fence around it, a lightning fence around it, where you'd put your stock in there at night to water. It was halfway down to the coast country. Now Harold and I, Skinner and I, were putting some cattle down on the coast, and he'd taken the cattle out, and well, I don't know what there was, 40, 50 head say, and put them in this little paddock dam, the camping spot, and left Cactus, the horse, there. Now we had some stock down there at the coast. Now I caught Cactus next morning. I suppose a bale of hay might have been chucked in, I can't tell you that, but I caught Cactus next morning and saddled him up and drove those cattle, which you do more than the 15 miles when you're droving, you know. I drove them down to the coast, put them out in the hammocks, a good 15 to 18 miles that would be, then took a good fast rasp around the hammocks looking for Eddie stock, you know, having a good look about. And this was a magnificent horse to ride. You had to have him on a tight rein. If you loosened your rein, he'd walk and break into a canter, beautiful smooth canter. I'd left my vehicle at the halfway spot. After rasping about through the hammocks, I headed off at a canter with a break into a trot and then a walk for a while to breathe your horse. I got back to the where I'd camped in the night before, to where the ute was. I was going to camp in there for the night, and I thought, well, you haven't had a feed, old man, you know. I led him through the window of a little Austin car I had, through the window, and he was on a tight rein up along the side of the rein. I got home at 11 o'clock at night, and that horse had done at least 70 or 80 miles and done it hard that day. And you could have, and he wasn't knocked up, he'd have kept going. That's how good a horse he was. Mm-hmm. So, and that is not far-fetched in any way, that is truth. And was known, that's known through the district, you know, what a good horse he was. I've never seen anybody injured. No, I haven't. Davis is on the Springburn. The family's still up there. The Springburn is a scrubby creek that runs through Boolong and runs into the Smoky River, the Crawford River, down towards Lower Crawford. And there was a big tea tree scrub, as far as from a mile wide. And Davis's, when they first came there, bought these wild cattle they were bred from dairy stock and run wild out on Mount Clay at Fred Doyle's. And they bought these cattle, and Goffy Thomas had something to do with it. He was a cowboy, and they got some of them, and Davis had bought them and turned them out in the Springburn. Now they went wild. They were there for years. Nobody, like, they couldn't be handled. They just couldn't be handled. And Bill Davis, he'd been trained as a vet. He got so far as a vet, and he used to seal his dogs they'd come out onto the clear, you see, to feed, and then back into the tea tree scrub, where it was impossible to do anything with them. So he'd sell his dogs onto little newly born calves, see? He'd watch them every day, and he'd castrate the calves, you see. He could just hold them. He was very good with the knife. Well, being a trained vet, or started to train as a vet. Now, there were some nice bullocks among them, but wild. Geez, they were wild. They'd see you, like, you wouldn't get from here to them cattle, and they'd see you, and then the tails in there and into the scrub they'd go. We used to go there for fun as kids, chase after them as soon as they hit. Big bulls and that among them, mongrel bulls. Anyway, Davis had wanted naturally to get rid of them, and Dad said he'd buy them what he could get of them, you see, and it was at a very cheap price. Now he got the second Tom Wilson, who was a good horse, a good stockman, really good stockman, good dogs, extra good dogs. And Dad's plan, which was probably all right, he said, well, get all you kids, that was Keith and myself, Skinner was too young, and I think Morris may have been in it, and he, if we ride through and kick up a lot of row through the tea tree, we can drive them out the other end. Now there was a flat on the other end of it, you see. So we tried this for a day or two, and no sign of them. No, couldn't see the cattle. And Tom Wilson said, those cattle aren't here, Snowy. He said, Dad was nicknamed Snowy. Those cattle aren't here, Snowy. He said, there's no cattle in here. There's no place, you know. Well, where are they? Well, he said, the tracks, he said, they're further on. So he said, we'll quietly ride through. So he took the lead riding through and warned us all to shut our mouths, you know. And we went through, I suppose, about a mile. And sure enough, we could see them ahead, this mob of cattle. I suppose there was 30 or 40 of them. And Tom said, now, he said, I'll stop here with the dog. And Tiger, Dad and he stopped on the scrub side of them. And the rest of our boys were to go right up round, like not in sight of it, and come onto the creek half a mile up and come back, you see. Well, the plan was get them up onto high country. So it worked. We went round and they sighted and headed back for the teacher, and of course they run into the dogs, which they weren't, well, they just couldn't handle, and they went up on the bank, and Tom's dog had them rounded up, you know, and Tiger working, biting at anything that went away. And I was on a good pony, a very good pony, and it was a mare that come from Jack Doyle. Queenie, her name was, a very good pony. Anyway, I got too close, and this cockhorn cow, she charged me, come out with the head down, you know, really charged me, and the tail over the back. And you know what I done, of course. I turned Queenie around, and she chased us from here to that fence. And she broke away, she got away, he never got her, but he got most of the cattle. We had to take them way back round to get them out, but he got most of the cattle, that was one thing. But they were the wildest cattle, they were bad. When we got them in the yard, he had good yards at Crawford, almost as good as Freddie's, just as high. And we got them into that yard, and I know Keith and I, young fellas, used to go over and shake a bag at the fence, and they'd charge, you know, they'd charge and smash into the fence. No way would we get in with them. They went to Bothwick's by rail, yeah. Getting back to Mr. Maltridge, Sam Maltridge at Melrose, he'd periodically get you to, he'd to help him muster his big herd of cows, or one of his herds of cows and calves in, perhaps to mark calves or draft. And they were timid cattle because they had big areas and hadn't been handled a lot. And he would be on the gate. Lloyd Kennedy and I were, he'd point out a beast that he wanted cut out of the mob, and he'd let it through the gate. He was at the gate, Mr. Maltridge, gateway. Now, there could be 40 or 50 cows milling round behind you. Now, there probably was not too many in it that would have a go, but you know, they were scary cows, like they were station bred cows. Well, it was instinct, it was just natural for you to, you know, to look round when you heard that something behind you, but you daren't do that with Mossied. I say my cattle won't hurt you. I say there's no need to be a cow in here, all this sort of thing. Kids, or I was a kid, nearly bringing tears to your eyes. But one in particular charged Kennedy, was in the middle of the yard. It charged him, a big wide-horned cow with the head down, and he didn't move. I suppose he was too terrified. But she stopped that far from him. Yeah, she stopped that far from him, reared off, and they lash out with the back leg, you know. And that was scary, you didn't like that. And then the spaying job, that was too cruel really, but...
What did that involve?
Well, they bailed the cow up on the near side, near side. They bailed the cow up and they placed a rope just in front of the hind legs, under the belly and over the top rail to stand her up, you see. And then a hand span from the hip on the near side, they shaved that much with a pair of clippers, you know, disinfected it, cut it open with a knife, then cut the lining of the stomach open. And they had a instrument on their arm with a pair of scissors in the hand, like there, and they felt in for the ovaries and they removed the ovaries, cut them out, stitched inside and outside. Well, there was no anaesthetic of any kind, no painkiller. And on one occasion, you see, I was a kiddie and Lloyd wasn't very strong and we couldn't hold the rope that was underneath, you get what I mean? And the cow went down with the guts come out, you know, and managed to get her to her feet. No, it should never ever been done, really.
Does it happen today?
Yes, but I think they must, I understand they use anaesthetic now, which should have been used then.
I think if you're going to do it, they've got to have a vet to do it.
Yeah, but some of the old hands,
Just come over and stand behind me.
some of the old hands, which was Bay Malted was noted, Kennedy was another, who Sam Kennedy would have learned in the territory where it was very popular. But they...
I'll just tell you the last bloke I heard that did a big mob, and it would have been for Morgan's out here at Newham, was Kevin Byron.
But Kevin Byron was a top man at it, another Queenslander, a northern man. But look, I won't go in, there was another method of doing it. Yes. With cows, like, you know, matured cattle. But that was the way I seen it done, and I, you know, it was just too cruel for my liking. Dehorning is a pretty cruel operation too, just quietly. You've seen dehorning done. But then again, it's a lot happier herd with no horns. You get those, especially in Herefords, they had horns on them like needles, cock-horned cows with like needles, you know. After I'd give up hard work, I suppose you'd call it, I got the job of building a few yards, cattle yards. I done one out from Mount Gambier to a plan. I quoted a price on it. I quoted a price on it, and when we got there, well, that was timber supply that I'd cut. I'd cut the hardwood timber and the posts. No, they weren't, they were pine posts. Anyway, he was a nice sort of a bloke. I can't think of his name, this chap, Donovan, Donovan, I think, Donovan. Anyway, we got there, another chap helping me, crowbar and spade to dig the hole, and it was dolomite. This far under the ground was just harder than limestone. It was terrible, and this is he pointed out where he wanted it. Well, I mean, we wouldn't have dug a hole in a day without dynamite. So I went in, he was an agent in Mount Gambier. I went in to see him and I said, look, I've got to pull out of that deal. It was only on a word, you know. Oh, why, what's wrong? I said, that's Buddy Stone there. He said, I thought that ridge would be all right. He said, that's dolomite country there. Well, I said, we tried. I said, not only one hole. I said, when we pegged it out, I said, no. I said, you know, if you... Well, he shifted the yards anyway, and we got onto a bit of good sand. He was good enough to do that because I would have had to stick to me word or do me money. But anyway, I built that one, and then we done a couple of different places. And I was at a loose end doing nothing, and spare time was more available than spare cash. So Fred, we're doing a little bit of work for Fred. Fencing, I think we put a fence up down here and what have you. Another fella, Peter Murphy, a good worker. So Fred said about the yards, but he emphasised that they had to be strong. So they both had plans. Fred's plan mainly, but you know, corrected here and there and altered here and there. And as I think I told you later, some time ago, we cut the timber at the big pine. They were pines that high. They were big trees. We cut them at Nareen. They were carted Fred carted them on his truck to a sawmill at Conda. Sawn there, treated up here at this mill, and that's the yards. And he said he wanted them strong. Well, it's been commented on that they were very solid yards. The rails were 8x3, treated pine, unheard of, 7 feet apart. It was unheard of to build it that strong. One chap remarked, well, we going in for elephants, but they were good yards, I think. A couple of faults in it, but still there's a fault in everything.